Ice crystals hang suspended in the air like dust from diamonds, and the temperature has plummeted to -83 degrees Fahrenheit. Through a veil of frozen breath, an Inuit hunter crouches low against the snow, his sealskin parka blending with the endless white. Wind shrieks across the Arctic tundra with such ferocity that exposed skin would freeze in less than 30 seconds. Yet here he waits, motionless, eyes fixed on a small dark patch in the ice, a breathing hole where a seal will eventually surface. Before we continue, if you enjoy powerful stories of survival, tradition, and raw nature, make sure to click that subscribe button. It's the best way to support our work. Thank you, and let's continue. The hunter shifts his weight slightly, and ice crackles beneath him. He's been here for 3 hours already, positioned downwind so the seal won't catch his scent. In his hands, he holds not a rifle but a harpoon, a tool his ancestors have used for thousands of years. The shaft is made from caribou antler, the tip from narwhal tusk, bound together with braided sinew that maintains its strength even in these extreme temperatures. At -83, most modern firearms would fail. Gun oil becomes sluggish, metal becomes brittle, and springs lose their tension. But traditional Inuit hunting methods are perfectly adapted to these conditions. The hunter's tools have evolved alongside his people through countless generations of Arctic survival. The seal's breathing hole is barely visible, just a small opening in ice that's several feet thick. The hunter knows this hole is part of a network. Seals create multiple breathing spots to avoid predators, surfacing in different locations to take quick breaths before disappearing again into the depths. Catching one requires not just patience, but a profound understanding of seal behavior that has been passed down through oral tradition. The hunter's uncle taught him this method when he was just 7 years old. "The seal can hear your heartbeat through the ice," the old man had said. "You must become like the ice itself, still, patient, part of the landscape." Now, decades later, the hunter teaches these same lessons to his own son, ensuring the knowledge survives into another generation. His sealskin boots, called kamiks, are lined with dried grass that acts as insulation. His parka is double-layered, the inner layer with fur facing his skin, the outer layer with fur facing outward to break the wind. Every piece of his clothing represents centuries of refinement in Arctic survival gear. Unlike modern synthetic materials that can fail or tear in extreme cold, these traditional garments can mean the difference between life and death when temperatures drop to these levels. The wait continues. For hours now, his muscles ache from maintaining the same position, but movement could alert the seal. The Arctic sun hangs low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the ice. In winter, this far north, the sun barely rises at all. Hunters must work in near darkness, using their intimate knowledge of the land to navigate. Suddenly, there's movement at the breathing hole. A small ripple disturbs the water's surface. The hunter's grip tightens on his harpoon. His breathing slows. This is the moment that will determine whether his family eats today. The seal's nose appears first, just a small black dot testing the air. If the hunter moves now, the seal will vanish in an instant. He remains statue still, fighting against every instinct to strike early. The seal must commit to surfacing fully before the harpoon can find its mark. More of the seal emerges. Its sleek head breaks the surface completely. The hunter calculates distance, wind speed, and trajectory in a fraction of a second, calculations made not with mathematics but with instinct honed through years of practice. With explosive force, he drives the harpoon downward. The movement is so sudden that ice crystals erupt from his clothing like a shower of sparks. The harpoon finds its target, and the seal thrashes violently. A rope attached to the harpoon runs through the hunter's hands as the seal dives. But he's prepared. A float made from inflated seal bladder prevents the animal from diving too deep while exhausting it. The struggle continues for several minutes. In these temperatures, the hunter must work quickly once the seal is secured. Blood on the ice will freeze instantly, creating a slick surface that could cause fatal accidents. With practiced movements, he pulls the seal onto the ice and performs a ritual of thanksgiving, a quiet moment that acknowledges the animal's sacrifice and maintains the spiritual balance between hunter and hunted. This relationship with their prey sets Inuit hunting apart from sport hunting. Every part of the seal will be used: The meat feeds the community. The blubber provides oil for lamps and additional calories essential for surviving Arctic winters. The skin becomes clothing or shelter material. Even the bones serve as tools or toys for children. As the hunter begins preparing his catch, the temperature continues to drop. His breath creates a halo of frost around his face. At -83 degrees, he knows he has limited time before he must return to his community. The journey back will be treacherous. Arctic weather can change in minutes, and a clear sky can transform into a wide-out blizzard with little warning. He secures the seal to his sled, which is pulled not by dogs but by his own strength. Dog teams, while still used by some hunters, require significant resources to maintain. Many modern Inuit hunters prefer snowmobiles when available, but at these extreme temperatures, mechanical transportation becomes unreliable. Traditional methods often prove most effective when technology fails. The return journey takes him across terrain that would appear featureless to outsiders. But the hunter reads the snow like a map. Wind patterns create subtle ridges and valleys. The angle of snowdrifts indicates prevailing winds. Stars peek through gaps in the clouds, providing navigation points that his ancestors used for millennia. As he walks, he scans constantly for polar bears. At -83, bears become desperately hungry and increasingly aggressive. The scent of seal blood could attract them from miles away. The hunter carries a traditional snow knife, not for fighting bears, but for quickly constructing emergency shelters if needed. A skilled hunter can build a snow house in less than an hour, creating a refuge that maintains an internal temperature of around 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Even when outside temperatures plummet to -100, the community appears on the horizon, a cluster of buildings barely visible against the white landscape. Smoke rises from chimneys, and children playing outside spot the returning hunter. They run to meet him, their excited voices carrying across the snow. In Inuit culture, a successful hunt belongs to everyone. The meat will be shared according to ancient protocols that ensure no family goes hungry. Inside the community center, elders gather to inspect the catch. They nod approvingly at the clean kill, a sign of respect for both the animal and the hunter's skill. The hunter's wife begins the process of butchering, her movements precise and efficient. She learned these techniques from her mother, who learned from her mother before her. An unbroken chain of knowledge stretching back thousands of years. As the meat is distributed, stories begin to flow. Other hunters share their experiences from the day. Some returned empty-handed. Even the most skilled hunter cannot guarantee success in the Arctic. But the community system ensures that everyone eats. This social safety net has allowed Inuit people to survive in one of Earth's harshest environments for millennia. The hunter's teenage son listens intently to the stories. He accompanied his father on the hunt today but remained at a distance, observing and learning. Inuit education happens through experience rather than classroom instruction. By the time he reaches adulthood, he will have spent thousands of hours on the ice, absorbing knowledge that cannot be taught through books. Climate change threatens this traditional way of life. Warming temperatures affect ice formation, animal migration patterns, and the predictability of weather systems that hunters have relied on for generations. Some breathing holes that families have used for centuries no longer form reliably. Animal populations shift northward as their habitats change. But Inuit culture has always been adaptive. The hunter remembers his grandfather talking about changes in his lifetime, new animals appearing, old migration routes shifting. The land teaches us, the old man would say. We must listen and adapt. Today's hunters incorporate GPS devices alongside traditional navigation methods. They use weather apps while still reading cloud formations. The core principles remain the same: respect for the land, patience, and deep understanding of animal behavior. As night falls, the temperature drops even further. Inside the community center, seal oil lamps provide warm light. The hunter's hands, cracked and weathered from the cold, carefully sharpen his harpoon tip. Tomorrow he will hunt again. The Arctic demands constant vigilance and effort for survival. His daughter, just 5 years old, watches him work. She asks questions about the hunt, about the seal, about the ice. He answers patiently, knowing that these conversations plant the seeds of knowledge that will grow as she does. In Inuit culture, everyone learns to hunt, not necessarily to become hunters, but to understand the relationship between humans and the environment that sustains them. The radio crackles with weather reports. A storm system approaches from the west. The hunter listens carefully, comparing the forecast with his own observations of wind patterns and cloud formations. Modern technology provides valuable information, but traditional knowledge offers context that satellites cannot capture. Outside, the northern lights begin their dance across the sky. Green and purple curtains of light shift and swirl above the frozen landscape. The hunter steps outside to watch, as his ancestors have done for thousands of years. In Inuit mythology, these lights are spirits playing ball with a walrus skull. Science explains them as solar particles colliding with Earth's atmosphere. Both explanations coexist in the hunter's worldview. Traditional beliefs and modern understanding enriching rather than contradicting each other. The aurora illuminates the ice fields stretching to the horizon. Somewhere out there, seals swim beneath the frozen surface, navigating their own ancient pathways. Polar bears prowl the edges of the ice, following scent trails that humans cannot detect. Arctic foxes scavenge for scraps, their white fur rendering them nearly invisible against the snow. This ecosystem has existed for millennia, shaped by extreme cold and minimal sunlight. Every creature, including humans, has adapted to survive here. The hunter's methods represent the culmination of thousands of years of trial and error, passed down through generations who learned that in the Arctic, knowledge means survival. As the hunter prepares for sleep, he checks his equipment one final time. The harpoon tip needs slight adjustment. He'll fix it in the morning. His boats need new grass insulation. These small tasks performed daily maintain the tools that keep him alive in an environment that offers no margin for error. His wife tends to the seal skin, beginning the long process of preparing it for use. The skin must be scraped clean of fat, stretched and dried carefully. Rushed work leads to inferior materials that could fail at critical moments. In the Arctic, quality craftsmanship isn't about aesthetics. It's about survival. The children sleep nearby, warm under blankets made from caribou hide. They dream of hunts and adventures, of becoming skilled providers for their community. The hunter remembers his own childhood dreams, many of which centered around moments like today, successfully providing for his family through skill and patience. Morning arrives with little fanfare in the Arctic winter. Darkness gives way to a dim twilight that passes for daylight this far north. The hunter rises early, checking weather conditions before the rest of the family wakes. The storm has passed, leaving fresh snow that will make tracking easier but travel more difficult. He prepares his equipment methodically. Each item has its place, its purpose. Nothing is carried without reason. Extra weight means extra energy expenditure, and energy is a precious resource when hunting in extreme cold. His pack contains emergency supplies, materials for fire starting, spare clothing, high-calorie food made from dried meat and rendered fat. Other hunters gather as the day begins. They discuss plans, share information about animal sightings, and coordinate efforts. While hunting often happens individually, the community functions as a collective intelligence network. Information shared freely increases everyone's chances of success. The hunter's son joins him today for a training expedition. The boy carries a smaller version of his father's equipment, learning to manage his gear in extreme conditions. They set out together, the father watching his son's movements, correcting his posture, teaching him to read the subtle signs that indicate safe ice versus dangerous areas. They travel several miles from the community, reaching an area known for good hunting. The father points out tracks in the snow, Arctic hare, fox, and the distinctive prints of a polar bear that passed through recently. Each track tells a story. The animal's size, its direction of travel, how long ago it passed, whether it was hunting or being hunted. At a predetermined spot, they separate. The son will practice his stalking technique while the father observes from a distance. This graduated training system allows young hunters to develop skills while maintaining safety. The boy moves carefully across the ice, mimicking the movements he's watched his father perform countless times. A raven caws overhead, its black form stark against the white sky. In Inuit tradition, ravens are clever tricksters, but also valuable allies. They often lead hunters to prey, expecting to share in the bounty. The hunter watches the bird's flight pattern, noting its direction and behavior. Hours pass in the white silence of the Arctic. The sun practices patience, perhaps the most difficult skill for young hunters to master. He fights the urge to move, to shift position, to seek warmth through activity. His father watches approvingly as the boy maintains his position despite obvious discomfort. As the dim daylight begins to fade, they reunite and begin the journey home. The son hasn't made a kill today, but he's learned valuable lessons about endurance, observation, and the rhythm of the hunt. These lessons accumulate over years, building the foundation of knowledge that will one day make him a skilled provider. Back in the community, preparations continue for the ongoing winter. Women work on clothing repairs, ensuring every family member has adequate protection against the cold. Elders tell stories that encode survival information in memorable narratives. Children play games that develop skills they'll need as adults, games that teach balance, hand-eye coordination, and strategic thinking. The hunter joins a group of men working on sled repairs. They discuss the changing ice conditions, comparing this year's freeze patterns with previous years. Climate change has made these discussions increasingly important. Traditional knowledge must constantly be updated to reflect new realities. As night returns, the community gathers for a meal. The seal meat from yesterday's hunt is served alongside other traditional foods: terrible, dus, and berries preserved from the brief summer. Each bite represents hours of labor, skill, and the complex relationship between the Inuit people and their environment. The hunter's grandmother, now in her 80s, shares stories from her youth. She remembers winters when temperatures dropped to -100 degrees, when hunting techniques were even more traditional than today. Her stories provide historical context, showing how Inuit culture has adapted while maintaining its core values. Children listen with wide eyes as she describes hunting whales from skin boats, building igloos during blizzards, and navigating by stars alone. These stories serve multiple purposes: entertainment, education, and cultural preservation. They create a bridge between past and present, ensuring that traditional knowledge remains relevant in a changing world. The hunter reflects on his own place in this continuum. He straddles two worlds: the ancient traditions of his ancestors and the modern realities of the 21st century. His children will face even greater challenges as climate change accelerates and traditional hunting grounds transform. Yet the fundamental skills remain relevant: patience, observation, respect for nature, and community cooperation. These principles have allowed Inuit people to thrive in the Arctic for thousands of years. Whatever changes come, these core values will continue to guide adaptation and survival. As the family prepares for sleep, the hunter steps outside once more. The temperature has dropped to -85 degrees. Stars blaze in the clear sky with an intensity only visible in the extreme cold. Tomorrow he will hunt again, continuing the cycle that has sustained his people since time immemorial. In the distance, a wolf howls, a sound that carries for miles in the thin Arctic air. The hunter listens, reading the tone and duration of the call. Wolves, like humans, are apex predators in this environment. They face similar challenges and have developed parallel strategies for survival. The hunter respects their skill and tenacity. Inside, his family sleeps peacefully, warm and fed because of his efforts and the efforts of generations before him. The seal oil lamp burns low, casting flickering shadows on the walls. Outside, the Arctic continues its eternal cycle, harsh, beautiful, and demanding absolute respect from all who call it home. The hunter knows that each successful hunt is a victory not just for his family, but for the continuation of a way of life that has persisted against incredible odds. As long as there are seals beneath the ice and hunters with the skill to catch them, Inuit culture will endure, adapting, evolving, but always rooted in the profound connection between people and the land that sustains them. Morning will come again, bringing new challenges and opportunities. The hunter will rise, check his equipment, read the weather, and venture once more onto the ice. This is the rhythm of Arctic life, a dance between human determination and natural forces, choreographed by thousands of years of accumulated wisdom. In a world increasingly disconnected from nature, the Inuit hunter represents something profound, a direct link between human survival and environmental knowledge. His methods may seem primitive to some, but they embody a sophistication that modern technology struggles to match. At -83°, when most machines fail and synthetic materials become brittle, traditional knowledge keeps people alive. The hunt continues, as it has for millennia, as it will for generations to come. Each seal taken, each skill passed down, each story shared strengthens the fabric of Inuit culture. In the face of unprecedented challenges, climate change, cultural erosion, economic pressures, these traditions provide both practical tools for survival and spiritual anchors for identity. As the Arctic night deepens and the temperature drops still further, the hunter sleeps soundly. Tomorrow's hunt awaits, but for now his work is done. His family is fed, his community is strong, and the ancient knowledge lives on through another generation. In the morning, he will rise again, take up his harpoon, and continue the timeless dance between hunter and hunted that defines life at the top of the world.